Another year and another series of everyone saying that the XXL Freshman list gets worse. What's up, everyone? Diego Solta with listeners' notes, and XXL Freshman list for 2017 is out. And yes, it did get worse, but are we really shocked? The XXL magazine brand picks artists that they think can maintain some relevancy in the mainstream. And since when have lyrics or artistry ever been a factor in mainstream hip-hop? Hell, even all of the pretentious J. Cole fans who say you're an idiot if you prefer some trap artists like Young Thug to J. Cole, they still listen to trap artists like 11 months out of the year besides the one that J. Cole drops his album. And to be honest, mainstream hip-hop fans probably wouldn't be big into Kendrick Lamar's albums if they weren't by Kendrick Lamar. But I'm digressing. What makes this list interesting? Well, for one, I think this list will have less lowlights than last year. The 2016 freshman list had some spectacular names like Anderson .Paak and Denzel Curry, but besides those two, just about everyone else was absolute garbage. 21 Savage and Kodak Black both sound like they're half asleep when they rap. Designer is a Future ripoff, and he's already running out of relevancy because of it. Lil Dicky is the quintessential corny white dude who can't tell which market to appeal to. He's a cancerous mixture of the moronic real hip-hop, who basically a group of fans that only like Tech Nine, Hops, and Eminem, and probably Logic, and then he mixes that sound with just bad comedy rap. And then we have Uzi and Yachty, who are Uzi and Yachty. And wait, who's Dave East? That's essentially last year's list in a nutshell. This year, we have Kamaya, A Boogie with the Hoodie, PNB Rock, XXX Tentacion, Playboy Cardi, Made in TYO, maybe that's Tokyo, Eminem, Ugly God, Cap G, and Kyle. And honestly, there's a few names that I am not familiar with at all on this list. Now, I know they're all going to rush out albums this year because of this hype that the XXL Freshman list is giving them, and I will give all of those albums a shot. And I do wonder who out of this group will carve their own sound out. Personally, I think X has the greatest chance, but he still has to shore up his sound. He's really all over the place right now, and in my opinion, his guitar ballads are just god-awful. He's not that type of artist yet. He doesn't really have the sort of songwriting talent to pen a nice guitar tune, and I don't really find his vocal style in those types of songs all that engaging or interesting. That doesn't mean he can't make a song in that style, but I just think he has to improve. And I think he could find inspiration from a group like Brockhampton. That's a unique hip-hop R&B group collective that just put out an incredible album. And they have these R&B indie rock style ballads that just sound so much better than any of X's ballads. And speaking of which, if you haven't heard Brockhampton's new album, you should definitely give it a shot. It's spectacular. It's better than anything that anyone from the XXL Freshman list has made thus far. But I digress. Now, I've only heard one song from both Kyle and Eminem, but both of those singles are not that bad in my opinion. And I'm curious to see if Kyle can create more of this upbeat hip-hop that is hopefully coming to replace the strip club atmospheric dark trap that is becoming so boring and tired at this point. We saw someone like Drum make an album that almost embodied an opposite point of view from that spectrum, but I want to see if Kyle can take it a step further. The only thing I worry about with Kyle is whether or not he can execute that vibe on a full album and do it well. I think he will try, I just hope the execution is good. Now, Ugly God is one of those artists that I've heard about more than I've actually heard his music. I've watched his Nardwuar interview, and I do have a friend who talks about him all the time, but I've never given him a full chance or listened to like a bunch of his songs. I think I've listened to one or two. All I know about him is that he is vulgar as hell, and he has a genuine love for music. Two things which I think he can develop into something great as his career continues on. he definitely has a passion for it, and I'd love to see that play a role in his music. Now, I've actually heard a full P&B Rock album. I really wasn't a fan of it at all, but he does have some noticeable talents, specifically when it comes to making a catchy hook. Sadly, that's really all I've seen from him thus far, and he's going to need to be a lot more adventurous with both his production and his vocals if he really wants to grab my attention personally. But also, I think he's going to need to do that stuff if he really wants to stand out. I don't think his style is that distinct from what we already have in hip-hop right now, and it's going to be an uphill battle if he's just doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. But, you know, we'll see what he does. I do hope he tries something a little weird or experimental, and maybe we'll see if he can make some solid music once he does that. Alright, final two that I've really heard of and I know quite a bit about are Playboi Carti and Kamaya. Carti's music is really boring to me. It just seems like something I've heard before, something that could have made last year's freshman list, sort of in the vein of Lil Uzi Vert, though I wouldn't say he's a carbon copy, and there's really nothing unique about him and nothing that I can say, to be honest with you. I just hope he proves me wrong in the coming future, though he already dropped a mixtape / album and it really didn't do anything for me at all. And as for Kamaya, I've heard quite a few features from her. I know she does stuff with YG, she was on Lil Yachty's last album, and I can't really say she really left a great impression on me, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be a problem. I do want to hear a full album from her first before I put out some big statement. I think, once again, she could do some spectacular things. Now, obviously, I was disappointed that certain people didn't make the list. I was expecting, well, I was hoping to see someone like No Name make the list or Kevin Abstract, but I kind of saw it coming that they wouldn't. And, you know, I really thought Rich Chico would make it. It's kind of a shock that he's not on here. But, you know, it is what it is. I know on the surface this isn't what a hip-hop traditionalist would want in their XXL Freshman list, and I get that, I really do. But that's kind of what the underground is for, especially right now. The underground is really in a good place in terms of just artists making great hip-hop. Last year, there were so many incredible hip-hop albums, and if you're looking for lyrics, that's the place to go. I'm not even kidding. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up in the comment section. I will recommend like dozens upon dozens of great albums. That's kind of where we are with underground hip-hop right now. And I don't even have those kinds of aspirations for this XXL Freshman list. I just hope that they can have their own effect on mainstream hip-hop and hopefully change it a little bit. Once again, I'm just tired of the dark, moody trap, and I'd love to see some other sounds come into the mainstream and hopefully start some trends that just kill this just tired sound. So, yeah, it's probably going to be another bad year. I don't think any of these guys are going to develop that far into into better lyricists or better, you know, just artists in general, but you never know. It could happen, but I'm really not shocked after who made it last year. I wouldn't even blame XXL. I kind of want to blame hip-hop fans. And it's not that I hate this list personally, but if you do, I think you should realize that the reason why it's like this is because people are supporting this kind of music. If there wasn't money in this stuff would not be popular, but evidently here we are. So yeah, if you really do want other music to be popular, support other music, whether it be just telling all of your friends, streaming it, buying it, seeing them at shows. That's what you have to do if you really want other music than this to be popular. But I digress. I do not mind this kind of hip-hop personally, but it needs to have good instrumentals and vocals throughout an album for me to like a hip-hop project without any lyrics. I don't need the lyrics, but everything else has to be perfect to make up for it. And, you know, I just want to close this video off with reminding you guys that every one of these Freshman is a very young artist, and their sounds are going to change a lot. They're all going to improve in many ways, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time before we can fully judge them. I hope some of them become a lot better than they are now, but it's one of those things that's hard to judge. We'll see what happens. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Diego with listener's notes here, and I'll see you on the next video. Let me know what you thought of this freshman list. Tell me what songs I need to listen to if I'm unfamiliar with an artist or whatever that you're a fan of. Get me into them. If you show me something good, I will praise it. It's that simple. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you on the next video.